RPT. And don't forget about your fleet vehicles at RPT Commercial in Pearl. RicksProTruck.com. Trucks live here. Okay, I see what you were asking. Bo, will you be at the SAE house this weekend? Yes. Parents weekend, I'm there.
Nice.
I'm almost done, you know?
Yeah.
Ella Hall, I had my last parents weekend with her a few weeks ago. Had a blast. And Wilk still has one more year. But, yeah, y'all have come out of the woodwork. Man, I knew a lot of you from school, but that's cool to see you guys chime in throughout the country. And so, yeah, it's going to be a fun weekend. It is for those of you heading to Oxford and Double Decker in Georgia and Starkville and LSU and the Starkville Derby and other things going on around town. So Taste Italian Kitchen in Starkville. Boom. Taste Italian Kitchen in the Renaissance. Open lunch and dinner 7 days a week. They'll also cater for you. Taste Italian Kitchen.com. Yummy pastas, wood-fired pizzas. Their sandwiches are fantastic. Some will eat them at night, but for lunch, it's great. You can do half a sandwich and a Caesar. Perfect. We've talked about the smoked tomato bisque. It is delicious. Put your croutons from your Caesar in, so you get the Caesar on the side. Caesar drops, smoked tomato bisque. Get your croutons, put them in the tomato bisque. Boom. If it's late afternoon at night, they've got 5 different Elijah Craig bourbons. It tastes Italian Kitchen. From the small batch, which is award-winning, all the way up to, the 18-year and toasted barrel. And several in between. I think they got the rye and the single barrel and so on. Wonderful place. That'll be rocking. Also want you to check out Luva Wine Bar. Wonderful place. And we know that two brothers, an older brother in Starkville, older brother Bistro and two brothers, will be insanity starting Thursday afternoon. And I don't know where we're going to go tonight in Oxford. I'll let PK drive the ship on that.
Raising Cane's.
I don't think we're going to go to Raising Cane's.
Yeah, opt out.
Yeah. I mean, not for dinner.
No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, when I'm traveling, I'll go through there and get a couple of chicken strips to tide me over. But
yeah, you trust Raising Cane's, right? To an extent.
Yeah.
Okay. More so than the others.
I mean, I need to be honest with you. I don't eat a lot of it.
Yeah.
Okay, but yes, I have had it many a times. Yeah. Okay. I mean, I can't power through fried chicken strips on any kind of regular basis at this point in my life.
Fried chicken was good yesterday.
Oh my God, your fried chicken looked amazing at lunch.
That was so good.
I can't believe you had never had the firecracker shrimp.
That was
I know.
hot.
I know.
I mean, I think that's my favorite app in the
Hot
metro
like
area.
Bo Garrett in the Madison.
How does she spell it? Beau?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Good call.
I don't think this is right. Yeah, it is.
Oh,
It is.
Oh, I know who that girl is.
Yeah, she's been in a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
But in the show The Madison on Paramount, she's Michelle Pfeiffer's oldest daughter. And she plays an incredible role. It's really good. Michelle Pfeiffer's amazing. She drives it.
Oh, yeah.
Kurt Russell's does a good job. I mean, all the actors and actors, same with actresses, are fabulous. I don't know how Taylor Sheridan does this many shows.
I don't either.
I don't understand how he writes.
Uh-uh.
I know he's got writers with him, but I know that he's the driving force. I don't understand how he does all of this, and he's now made hundreds of millions of dollars in like 5 minutes with all these shows. And I know it's been a tremendous amount of work, okay?
Yeah. But
I mean, a ridiculous amount of work. But
still.
I mean, like Landman.
I mean.
It's just one after another.
How?
I don't know.
How do you
He's
find the
brilliant.
time?
I mean, he's Steve Jobs, Belichick, Elon Saban. Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where do you get the time to do all that?
I don't know.
Because it's been within that window. It ain't been a big window. I mean,
And-
we're not talking 10 years.
Right at it,
Right
maybe?
at it. That's a lot of.
I'm not sure.
That's a chunk to make it.
But I
to.
mean, he is just ripping through shows. I mean, he's the guy right now. And they're all kind of similar, and yet they work. Which is,
Yeah, it's odd. It's a variation of each.
I mean, give him credit. He said, "Hey,
yeah.
this is my space and zip." Not that he's not going to do other things, or isn't, or hasn't, but a lot of it is in the kind of same setting, zip code.
Yeah. It hadn't been 10 years. It's been 8.
Okay.
That's incredible.
Are you going back to Yellowstone or something else?
Yellowstone in 18 is when it started.
Okay. I didn't know because I didn't track him. I didn't know if he did another show that I didn't know about before then.
No. After that, it was Tulsa King. He had a couple other ones, obviously, but Tulsa King, Landman.
I watched that. It was good. It's one of those that was hot and heavy and good early, and it faded pretty quick.
You got Frisco.
Trying to keep it popping.
Frisco King's on its way.
Okay. Is Sylvester moving, or is it somebody else? Because Stallone is the lead dog in Tulsa.
I'm going to assume.
And he does a hell of a job. I mean, Stallone's in his 70s and still a great actor. Michelle Pfeiffer's in her late 60s and an amazing actress.
The Taylor
It's
Sheridan.
like Tom Brady playing at 44. A little bit different.
Sheridan's
I understand.
first appearance ever in television. Walker, Texas Ranger, 95.
Dang. Austin from Gluckstadt. The Marshall is bad to the bone. All right. I like it. Or did he say that? Did he mean the Madison? Maybe Marshall's awesome. I don't know what that is. That may be another show.
It is Marshall's.
Boom.
Yeah.
All right. We got Mike Detillier next on the NFL Draft. Saints in the top 10. Cowboys have 2 first-round picks. Mendoza's going to the Raiders. Pick number 1. Mike Detillier next. All right. Good morning. Welcome. Good morning. Welcome into the Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 1059 The Zone. NFL Draft. NFL Draft, baby. Are you locked in? Saints coming in at number 8. Will they stay there? Will they move up like Mike Detillier told us they've been known to do? Was that more Sean Payton or was that more Loomis and Payton? We'll see what Mike D has to say. Jeremiah Love will probably not be there. Will they try to make a move to go up and get him, or will they stand pat with ETN now in the fold? We'll see how that looks. We are the Out of Bounds Show. Of course, the show is brought to you by Sound and Communications. If you need a video wall for your business, church, school, university, lobby, arena, conference room, Sound and Communications. SoundcomAV.com. They are the leader in video walls. Mike D on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. He's with WWL Radio TV New Orleans. He's been covering the draft for 40 years, and he joins us on 105.9 The Zone ESPN. Mike D, let's start with the number 1 pick in the draft for the Las Vegas Raiders, Fernando Mendoza. What do you think Mendoza's floor and ceiling is as far as a player comp, Mike D?
Man, he's a really good prospect here, to be honest with you. If I'd have told you a year ago that he would be the first pick in the 2026 NFL draft, you'd have come pick me up. I mean, you'd have had somebody do it because nobody was saying that. It goes to show you with Mendoza, and think about Orville Reese, who could end up being the second pick in the draft. He's a backup linebacker at Ohio State in 2024. It's a backup. And now, he could end up being the second pick in the draft. And David Bailey was a good player at Stanford, but he became a significant player at Texas Tech. You look at him across the board, he reminds me a lot of Jared Goff in his size, the way he throws the football. He sees the field very well. He's got excellent accuracy skills. So he can process that information really quickly in what he sees, and he gets rid of the football quick. He's a lot more mobile than people give him credit for, and that he can move around in the pocket and make some yardage downfield. We saw it in the national championship game, him make a couple of really big plays with his feet. But great leadership skills, smart, dedicated to the game, and he's got the one trait that you love in a quarterback, and that is he's accurate. I can't teach it. No one can. Either you are or you aren't. You can get a little bit better at it. But if you aren't an accurate quarterback, you're not going to make it in the NFL. And that's something Mendoza's got.
Mike D, if I said the floor, and you may be like, whoa, Bo, because Kirk Cousins is a pretty damn good QB. Okay. And I know I'm tiny men because they're both in Vegas, and they're going to let Mendoza sit for a minute. But is the floor like Kirk Cousins level for Mendoza, or is that going overboard?
Yeah, listen, Kirk has been a good player in this league. He really has. And, man, did he get paid? Ed Reed always has this line about, how you get respect in the NFL? They pay you. When you don't get paid, they got no respect for you. But when you get paid, you got respect. Look what Kirk Cousins has made in the NFL.
Oh.
And he's been a good quarterback. At times, good to very good quarterback in the NFL. So, no, that's not a bad comp at all. Again, when you watch him, there's a lot of Jared Goff in Fernando Mendoza, a lot of it.
I like that. Okay. Yeah, they would take that in a heartbeat. That's a pretty good to really good QB, depending on the Sunday. And even the Mahomes and Josh Allens have the ups and downs. Mike Detillier.
Yeah, and just think, Bo, Who's making the call in Las Vegas?
Tom Brady?
That's it. Mark Davis has made the comment that I rely on Brady for talent evaluations. So if Brady didn't give his blessing to this, then Mendoza's not the first pick in the draft.
You hit on it, Mike D. This is an incredible story. He was at Cal Berkeley. Nobody knew who the hell he was. Then Cignetti gets him, and he just gets better and better throughout the year. Mike, you know how hard it is to go undefeated in college football, especially now with the watered-down deal with NIL. And they run the gamut. You know, he had some hiccups. He threw a pick late against Iowa. I mean, he had some things that he had to overcome, and yet he continued his resiliency, and he's obviously a sponge as far as coaching. It's really an amazing story, isn't it, Mike?
It's unbelievable. And to see where it started with him and where he ends up, and I said this about the NFL, when you look at it, there are less than 2,000 players in the NFL. It's a unique set. And, you think about when you're a kid throwing the ball around, and now you get to get paid this unbelievable amount of money to play it. But there are very few people that can do it and at that level. And to see where he took his skill set at University of Cal and be able to raise it. A quick Manning story. Last summer, Archie and I were texting one another, and I asked him, would Fernando be at the Manning Passing Academy? Now, I thought he was a good player, but I would have never dreamed he'd be the first overall pick. And he told me no. He said Fernando Mendoza accepted the invitation to go to the Manning Passing Academy. And his coach told him, you can't go. That Cignetti said, Fridays and Saturdays, you guys work together, the quarterbacks along with the receivers and tight ends, on your own, so you can't go. So Archie gets on the phone, and he calls Curt Cignetti, and he was like, Coach, this is just for a couple of days. I'm not like pulling him out of, summer drills to come here, and Curt would not budge.
Wow.
And so he did. He ended up working out with his teammates, but he was good enough to call Archie and explain him everything, why he couldn't go after he had committed that he was going to be there. And then Coach Cignetti said, oh no. Those couple of days, you better off working with the wide receivers here. And goes to show how Cignetti is. He wouldn't budge on it. And so he didn't go to the Manning camp this past summer. Did not. Because Coach told him, no, I want you here working with your receivers and tight ends.
That is an insane story. That Archie Manning called Curt Cignetti and was like, hey, man, we just need him for 48 hours. We're not taking him for a week or 2 weeks. And Cignetti still said, I can't do it. He's got to be working with my wide receivers and tight ends.
He ain't the first. Just a couple years back, Jim Harbaugh, J.J. McCarthy was a similar situation. He had committed. He was going to come here, and Harbaugh said, oh, no. He stays in Ann Arbor and works with the receivers, even just for 3 days. But it goes to show, man, that how coaches are.
National champs. Both of them won.
And they ended up both winning national championships.
What? That's incredible. Of course, they're both kind of super quirky on the spectrum. Lots of similarities between Harbaugh and Cignetti. That's crazy, man. That those two said no to Peyton Eli and Archie. He is Mike D. Mike Detillier. He's at the Manning Passing Academy every year because when we get him on the next week, he shares awesome stories about the who, what, where, when, and why. We're talking NFL draft tomorrow night in Pittsburgh, first round. Let's go Saints. All right. So Mike D has been all over this. In a perfect world, Jeremiah Love. But at number 8, Mike has said also Jeremiah Love, the overwhelming odds are he'll be off the board. He also said the Saints have been known, especially with the Peyton/Loomis regime, to move up in the draft. Mike, if you had to handicap it today, do the Saints move up, stand pat, or move back?
Well, they have no history of moving back. Maybe I'll live long enough to see that, but they haven't done a lot of that. If anything, they've moved up in the draft, and a lot of that having to do with they've signaled out a certain player that they want to go get. I think they stand pat at 8, to be honest with you. And you're right. I think Love is off the board at that point. It came down to 3 players for me, and I never did a mock draft that Caleb Downs was there at 8. I always had him going before. I think he'd be a perfect fit for this defense. It was the same way for Cornell Tate, the wide receiver from Ohio State. He's different than the receivers they have now. And I did about 6, and only one of them came out Tate. And so I kind of have a feeling he won't be there. So a couple weeks ago, I went with a guy that I think will be there at 8, and he feels the need, and he's one of the top 8 players in this draft class, and that's Mansour Delane, the cornerback from LSU. Without Alontae Taylor in the mix, and he left to go to Titans, got a great deal there. That's a big hole at the cornerback position. And I think Delane would be an excellent fit there for the Saints. It would be unusual because I know people say, they make a big deal out of it, but it is true. The Saints, I've never picked an LSU player in round 1. And this is from 1967 up until now. Think about all the players that came out of
How did
LSU
that
and never
happen?
picked one in round 1. And you sort of shake your head, man, that's sort of strange. But I think Delane would be a great fit for this football team. And you would not be reaching for a player. He's in that area code. He feels the need. And you just watched him play last year and how smooth he is as a player. He's not this 6'1" corner that's 205. He's in the 190 range, right around 6 foot, maybe a tad less. But he's so smooth. And the 2 traits that jump out to me about him is, one, that if he gives up a big play, and it's been rare, it doesn't affect the next snap. A lot of times you have DBs that will give up a big play and it affects them the next play. For him, he's got amnesia. He's got the ability to put that aside and move on. And the other thing is he's not a panicky defensive back. How many times have we seen guys get beat and they start to panic that they're getting beat, so they're grabbing a receiver? You watch him, his recovery skills and his ability to find the football so quickly in flight is really, really good. And he's another guy. A year ago, when LSU brought him in for Virginia Tech, he most likely, had he come out early for the draft a year ago, he would have probably been a late second-day pick, probably in round 3. Look where we're talking about him now as a potential top 10 pick. And he sort of shut down one side of the field. And the great line Lane Kiffin gave 2 weeks ago was, and Coach O had told me this, that one of the things that Lane Kiffin does before a game is that he walks the sidelines and he watches the other team's players. And he said that, man, I was watching LSU before we played them. And he did not name him, but you knew who he was talking about. He said, I saw this guy, and we had some plans to maybe test him. And after watching him work out, I told Charlie Weiss, we're not doing that. We're not doing that anymore. So I think you got to see the respect that was given Delane as a cover cornerback. and how he could take away one side of the field. I think he'd be a great fit for the Saints. If Cornell Tate or Caleb Downs is there, difficult for me to pass on him.
Okay.
Really difficult. But the scenario would have to be there. And we know who the first pick is. Who knows what the hell the Jets will do? They've never had the word clever by any move that they've made on draft day in recent years. So for me, it would be easy. I pick Arvell Reese and move on because I think down the line he is going to be an exceptional player. But for the Saints, my thing is don't reach for a player and pick a guy that you've got on your board at that level.
All right, so Mike,
because that becomes the issue with a lot of teams. I gotta have a receiver so bad, I'm willing to take a risk, and he's maybe 14th on my board, and I'm picking him 8th.
Right.
That's when you make a mistake.
That's right. Mike Detillier, NFL Draft Insider, New Orleans Saints, WWL Radio. He joins us on the Out of Bounds show, driven by your next GMC Sierra truck at Fowler GMC, Pearl Brandon. Okay, Mike, which theory do you subscribe to after covering the Saints in the NFL and the draft for 40 years? Because you just hit on it. Do you get the best player available in the first round, or do you go with
always?
Okay,
always. Because when you're going to make a mistake is when you divvy from that theory. And why would you? You've spent hundreds of thousands to well over $1 million in scouting, in setting up your board, the countless hours you have spent watching film and setting this up, and all the scenarios that could happen. And I've talked to people that they've run this through this kind of draft cycle of you put it in the computer and it spits out who they think you'll pick. I've had guys tell me we ran it 50 times and it never worked out like we thought. Now, there was only one head coach with the Saints that always said, man, it was close to what we thought. And that was Jim Haslett. Every year was the same. Man, it was almost exact. Come on, you knew he was lying because there is no team that can predict what another team is going to do year to year. It's all almost a big guess. And then other people get involved. Your scouting department might like that guy, but then your coach or coaching staff get involved, and they want another player. I've heard of owners walk in and say, that's not who we're going to pick. I want so-and-so.
Yeah.
So you're going to tell the multi-billionaire owner who's cutting your check, no, I'm sticking to my guy. And he'll say, okay, you can stick to him, and you fired. It's that simple. They got geniuses now because I get them on my show. Oh, I would tell that owner I'm picking my player no matter what.
No.
Okay, you might, but then you're going to be looking for another job. And most of these GMs, they're not doing that. You know, they kiss her up pretty good with these billionaire owners. So there's a lot of factors that get involved with it, and especially that final 72 hours, because you don't want to be caught surprised at a scenario on draft day. And yet I've had numerous guys in this league tell me, we put up that board, we think we got it all figured out, and then one pick throws everything off. One pick. And then there's a trade. And then all of a sudden,
panic.
You end up in a spot where you didn't think you'd end up with. Anybody says they got it figured out, they lying to you. Yeah. Nobody's got it figured out. No one.
No, too many variables. You're exactly right, Mike D. Saints pick number 8 tomorrow in Pittsburgh. And here we go. Mike mentioned the last couple months that Loomis and his team nailed the NFL draft last year. They had gone on a kind of a cold run, and the Saints fans are chomping at the bit for them to nail this pick at number 8. Whether they go with the corner, something happens with Jeremiah Love, we'll see. Mike makes a great point. What are the Jets going to do? The Giants, I wouldn't think go Jeremiah Love. They've got Scatterbo, and Dart can run. Or am I wrong there? I mean, I don't think I think Harbaugh would go line of scrimmage with Dart and Scatterbo. I got a couple of minutes. How do you see it playing out, Mike D?
I think the key here is 3.
Okay.
With Arizona.
Yeah.
Who the hell knows what they do? And from year to year, they've had some peculiar picks throughout the years. They have made it known that they would like to deal out of that 3 pick. But it's expensive to get into the top 5. Everybody would love to have a top 5 pick, but what's the cost of getting into that? That's why there's much more talk about trades in the top 5 than actual deals.
Right.
That happen just because of the expense of it. Now, once you get past 5, to move from 10 to 6 isn't nearly expensive as moving from 10 to 2.
Right.
Or 10 to 3, because now you're looking at different players when you move down that far. But 6 to 10, and that's why I do believe, too, in this draft class, despite the left tackle position is not great in this draft class by any stretch. But I think you will see 8 to 9 offensive linemen go in round 1.
Dang.
That's how valuable those players are. And probably half of them in most draft classes would not end up in the first round. Because of supply and demand, though, you're going to see at least 8 go in round 1 this year. And the man upstairs, he only made so many people that big, that fast, that strong. And every team looks at trying to upgrade their offensive line and defensive line. That's the one thing in 40 years that has not changed. Those guys are so valuable that teams are willing to risk going away from best player on the board to get linemen.
Man, Mike D was awesome. That was fantastic on the NFL draft. He joined us on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. Mike D, you're the best. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you, buddy.
He's awesome. Powered by Sound and Communications. Your next video wall at your school, business, church is powered by Sound and Communications. SoundCommAV.com. That's SoundCommAV.com.
WRKS Pickens Jackson.
All systems go.
Live from the Whiskey 61 Lounge inside the Bank Plus studio.
Is now warning.
Live in the studio. It's the Out of Bounds Show with Lowbound. Streaming live worldwide on the Out of Bounds radio app. And on your radio at ESPN 105.9. All set? Let's go. The Zone.
Guy named Sliced Bread.
Good morning, Out of Bounds, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. Our NFL draft coverage is brought to you by Ice Cold Bud Light and Burgers on the Grill tonight. Invite Jackson and I to come over. We'll drink your Bud Light and we'll smash some burgers off the grill. Ice Cold Bud Light and Burgers. That's a winning combination. And the NFL draft is this weekend. Are you ready? You're a Patriots fan, right?
Actually, yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I am.
Because you're
I like Brady.
I mean, you're a fake Saints fan. Is that fair?
I like. If there's anything I am, there's a Saints fan in me.
Really?
Yeah. There's a Saints fan and a Red Sox fan in me.
Okay.
Yeah. I like the Pats. It's not fair, though. I had to. I didn't want to be a loser.
You just jumped on the winning team.
I didn't want to be a loser.
Okay.
Pretty simple. Alabama was a great football team early 2010s for me.
Did you become a fan?
You making me money, I'm rolling with you.
You're so lame.
I got to roll with you.
Okay. Oh, God.
If you're clinching that 18 parlay for me, I got,
What?
We're fans forever. Forever.
8-team or 18?
We can go both, but 8. Usually an 8.
Have you ever put an 18
Oh, yeah, I've nailed it.
18-team parlay?
Oh, 18? Oh, I've put them in.
Okay. Have you ever nailed an 18?
No.
Okay.
I got to 8. 8's my high. My
You have
I've
hit on an 8.
I have had a whopping 75 cents on the bet.
What'd you win? $8?
Oh no,
90?
I have a 450, 500. Oh, I mean 18 parlay, pretty. You get on up there.
Okay.
Yeah, you get up there real quick.
What sport? Football, basketball, baseball, or was it like women's tennis or
Mixed
or paddle? I can't remember what you were doing.
ping pong.
Was it ping pong?
I
Was
didn't
that
have-
the was
it
that
was
the
not.
eight?
Not.
Was it an 8-person parlay or an 8-team parlay?
8-team/purse. 8-team because it was soccer in the morning, followed by college football, and then I rounded it out with an NFL game that night. It was a wild Saturday.
And you bet 75 cents.
Yeah, and drilled it.
And you made how much?
I think it was about 450, which is a huge.
Oh no! I mean, yeah, you bet 3 quarters to make $450.
Because the thing about it is, when you're betting soccer,
Is that, have you hit more than one? 8-team
I've hit
or
2.
8-person?
2 of them.
You've hit, what was the other, how much did you bet on the other one?
Ooh, the other one was a split.
What if you'd have bet $100?
I mean,
What would it have been?
I would have put that on. I mean, there ain't no. I don't even know. $100 would have been at least about 40 grand, 50 grand,
Okay.
right around.
Okay.
Maybe 38, 50 or something like that.
Yeah.
The second one we split. It was a bunch of us, and we ended up putting like $8 on an 18 parlay, and it cashed. But it wasn't as big because it was all football.
I got you.
So when you're doing football, you don't have those big, like with soccer, you can have plus 300 money lines, and you got a tie. So a tie has to be factored in. You can't just win or lose in soccer. You can also tie. So you bet when you're betting money line, there's not win or lose.
Oh, it's
There's
all 3.
Win, lose, tie.
Oh.
So you knock a couple ties in there, and you automatically just jump your stuff up. Boy, I mean, because it's like plus 500 or 600 per tie.
Interesting.
Hard to nail those. Soccer's tough.
All right. We are the Out of Bounds Show. Wow, that was amazing. We are the Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. Brought to you by Matt Anderson, Southeastern Land Group. So you're looking for some land, right? You want to call Matt Anderson, 601-408-5155. Matt sold a 100-acre tract last week in Issaquah County. And it was inside and outside the levee. Off-market purchase, not listed. And then yesterday he sent me this virtual tour, panoramic technology, of another beautiful piece of property. So Matt Anderson, if you're looking for hunting land, farm, a camp, whatever it is, Matt Anderson, Southeastern Land Group, 601-408-5155. Matt Anderson, Southeastern Land Group. He is the dude to call when you're looking for your next piece of property. Bowbound Straight Funk with you. Straight Funk just sharing that he's hit 2 18/person parlays.
Didn't get paid out on one of them.
You got shorted?
Broke the bookie.
Yeah.
That's his first. I think it was his first week.
What's your favorite? Would you rather bet on ping pong, professional soccer, or one of the sports over here like football, basketball, or baseball?
Depends
So
on if I'm watching the game.
No, well, you could do both. I mean, if you're just what's your favorite?
If I wake up in the morning and I'm taking a line of plays for the day or something like that,
yeah,
it'll probably be majority over here. The other stuff's live.
Okay.
Take it live. Live's the way.
Okay.
You got to feel the momentum.
You got to feel the momentum.
And I don't know how I do that. I'm just sitting here watching a score go up 1 or 2. We don't get any video.
Oh, you're just watching the score?
I mean, you can read a lot about a box score.
Really?
Box score will tell you a whole lot.
Okay.
Whole lot. Then you get to rolling. You just got to feel it.
You got to feel it.
You can feel it, man. You can win.
Just like the Jets when they're drafting.
Dude, they're definitely feeling it.
I mean, they like to feel it because they like to draft it the first, second, third, fourth, or fifth spot.
Religious.
Just like the Arizona Cardinals, right? Now Detroit's gotten out of that.
Yeah.
But Cleveland Browns, New York Jets, and Arizona Cardinals, they love some drafting that first, third, or fifth.
Man, let's get this over with real quick.
Yeah. Well, again, who knew in 2022 in Las Vegas, when Blake and I were having some drinks at Caesars before the draft, that we would run into these Detroit Lions fans. They had their jerseys on. Of course, Barry Sanders.
Of course.
And
that's the only jersey.
One of them may have had a Stafford. I mean, Stafford had already moved to
L.A.
To L.A., right?
Could have had Calvin Johnson.
They may have had Calvin. But he said, this is what we live for. He didn't know that Dan Campbell and the new GM were going to come in and drive Detroit to a bunch of wins and playoff appearances. I know they haven't punched their ticket to the Super Bowl, but still, it's because Detroit was, to a certain extent at times, the Cleveland Browns, the New York Jets, the Arizona Cardinals, okay?
Yeah.
And look where the Jets are again. Number 2. What was it? Aaron Glenn was the defensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions before taking the New York Jets job, and they didn't even have an interception last year.
That's right.
I mean,
wow.
Think about how good a defensive coach Aaron Glenn is. He gets hired for the Jets. That's his specialty, and they didn't have a pick in 2025. I think that's right. I know it was something ridiculous that I saw. All right, we continue to move on to, I think Bartu's going to join us at 9:30. We are the Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. Hey, good morning. Welcome into the Out of Bounds Show, brought to you by Kessler Prime and the Renaissance. Amazing steaks and homemade hot tamales, 6 private dining rooms, KesslerPrime.com to make a reservation. They have Elijah Craig bourbon at Kessler Prime. Fabulous steaks and seafood, and the smoked bacon appetizer is fantastic, especially with like an Elijah Craig old fashioned. That's a good pairing. KesslerPrime.com to make a reservation. Good morning. Welcome in. We got some Pete Golding audio, him talking Deuce Knight, a little bit of Walker Howard, Trinidad. That's the QB room for Pete Golding and the Ole Miss Rebels. They went and got a lot of dudes. I mean, they retained Trinidad. They brought Walker Howard back. Okay. He had been in Oxford for a couple of years. Then there was all this, did he date Lane's daughter and it not go well? And Lane at that point just said, you'll never, not verbatim, maybe did, maybe didn't. You're not going to play, blah, blah, blah. But who knows if all that exactly happened. And then he goes to Lafayette. And then Deuce Knight, it was an Ole Miss Notre Dame Auburn battle. Freeze and Nix end up beating Kiffin and Marcus Freeman. He goes over to Auburn. Y'all know what happened. Hugh Freeze got fired because he could never address the quarterback position the right way or get the offense going at Auburn, which I would have never thought. DJ Durkin, as defensive coordinator at Ole Miss A&M and Auburn, has been phenomenal, and he was really good at Auburn. I mean, Auburn was just a whisker away from being good, and Freeze could not get the offense rolling, which is really incredible when you think about it. But he lost his mojo that he had at Arkansas State, Ole Miss, and Liberty. Deuce Knight's now in Oxford. This is what Pete Golding, the new Ole Miss, it's crazy. Lane's gone. This is Pete Golding's program and football team. He inherited a tremendous amount of talent. He's talking the QB room and Deuce Knight out of Mississippi, who's now at Ole Miss.
Just going to check in on the quarterback room, see how Deuce Knight is acclimating as a backup quarterback, and then any other names of that room that folks might be interested in.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a very unique group, and I think they complement each other really well. I mean, obviously Trinidad coming back, and then, you have Walker Howard, who's been in the system, right, that went out of the system again and then came back, that understands exactly what we're trying to accomplish. Really smart, understands what the defense is trying to do and what to get into, what to get out of, and where to go with the football. So it's really nice to have a veteran guy in there that's been in this system, to help with Trinidad from a leadership standpoint for the young guys. I think Deuce has continued to flash, obviously a real problem in +1 runs with his size and speed, and they're doing a good job offensively creating some of those issues. So had some big runs today. I think he's getting better at delivering the football and making good decisions, which will continue to come with time. And then I think AJ as well. You see the flashes of AJ, and then it's the consistency of playing the position, snap in and snap out. And, there's one thing about, when you start going good on good, especially up front, some of those guys that are blocking for them probably aren't going to be on Saturday, and some of those time responses don't look the same. So the evaluation of that position sometimes is a little tough based on who's at O-line, to be honest with you. So I think they're all in. I think Joe does a great job with that group, but I'd say they've all flashed. They're all continuing to get better, which they need to.
Okay. My takeaway is that Deuce Knight is not polished throwing the football yet. Doesn't mean he's not talented. Doesn't mean he's not a good player. But I think Pete said it. It wasn't derogatory whatsoever, but Deuce has to get better. And I, it's all about the short and intermediate passing game. It just is. And Trinidad's already accurate and can throw the ball at all 3 levels, short, intermediate, and deep. And, that's what I taught. So Deuce, he's young, still getting there. We'll see if he does. Not everybody gets there. I mean, Lenore Sellers needs to turn the corner on accuracy. And it happens for some guys, and some guys are just kind of solid. and at being accurate, but can run around and move around and do all kinds of fun stuff and stretch and bend and sometimes even break the defense. Now, that goes to Kamario Taylor. So Deuce was a hot shot, right? Prospect out of Mississippi. Kamario Taylor, hot shot prospect out of Mississippi. They're both very talented, physical, can move. You know, Jeff Levy's going to rely on a true sophomore with not a lot of playing time. And I guess Zach Arnett, Kamario Taylor and Zach Arnett to quote unquote, along with Jeff, to save his job. And so the question is let's go back to January, 8 months, swing all the way through August 31st, and then going into Labor Day weekend, how much better will Kamario get at reading defenses and the short and intermediate passing game? And then Arnett, you're going to be better on defense just because any number of people were going to make you better, and Arnett is more than solid as a defensive coordinator. Coleman Hutzler was either the worst or bottom 5 defensive coordinators in Power 4. Okay, but you didn't just decide to run it with him 1 year, you did 2, which is why a lot of people have checked out. And, you know, to get them back, you got to win. You got to win games. And so Kamario, still young and raw and developing, how does that look? You know, he didn't really play that much for the first 11 games. You know, spot duty here and there. He did play at Arkansas. The 2 touch, they were down 17. I think he led them to 2 scores when Shapen got knocked out, and then Shapen eventually came back. And then he started the Ole Miss game and had a solid performance, and then the bowl game was a disaster. I don't blame Kamario for that. I blame the staff. And so I think that's the number one question in the Mississippi State football fan base is, what is Kamario going to be by Labor Day? Development, touch, short. And the reason why I say it travels, you know, you got Fluff back and he was not healthy. He never got back healthy after I don't remember which game it was, where it looked like his ankle fell off. It looked like a Dak Prescott injury, and yet he came back a few weeks later. But he was, you know, it looked like maybe 60, 70%. All right. So, but Fluff healthy is a good player. And Steve Palazzolo, who was with Pro Football Focus and now Check the Mic, talked about how much he likes him as a possible NFL player. But you have to go on, speaking of things that travel, you have to go on the road week 2 and 3. 2 at Minnesota for Mississippi State, week 3 at South Carolina. And their coordinators are better than yours. Kendall Briles and Clayton White combo trumps Jeff Levy and Zach Arnett. Can Kamario Taylor and Levy create an offense with a short and intermediate passing game that travels on the road? To me, is one of the number one questions. And can Arnett find an edge rusher? We'll have Dave Bartu next. NFL Draft, Mr. Lions and Tigers and Crazy Pills coming up next.
Show me the money!
You gonna show me the money.
Oh,
Show me the money!
You gonna show me the money.
yeah. We are the Out of Bounds Show. ESPN 1059 The Zone.
Be hot take.
Yeah, ain't no doubt.
Good. That is right in the giblets, baby.
Yeah.
Oh, you
Plus
want
one
the,
coach
you
up
want the
there.
10,000-foot level of Jimbo Fisher? Is that what you're asking
Yes, yes.
for? He sucks. How's that? Wow, what am I drinking?
Good morning. Welcome in. Show Me the Money is powered by Pearl River Resort, Championship Golf, Dancing Rabbit Golf Club, and the super cool Golden Moon Casino, Vegas-style sportsbook. Book your 24 to 48 hours of fun, pearlriverresort.com.
Show me the money!
Diamond Dave Bartu joins us, Matrix Analytical. And he was part of one of the national championship game teams. He's worked for them, and he's done amazing work with college teams and NFL teams. He joins us on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. Well, good morning, Wild Man.
Good morning, Sunshine. Where'd you get that Jimbo Fisher drop?
Don't you love that?
Well, what was I on that morning, man? I must have woke up wanting to fight something. Jeez.
I loved it, man. We drop it all the time. Here you go. Here it is again for you.
Oh, you
Plus
want
one
the,
coach
you
up
want the
there.
10,000-foot level of Jimbo Fisher? Is that what you're asking for?
Yes, yes.
He sucks. How's that? Yeah, and that was before he coached the game at A&M. That was like that was the week he was the hire was announced, and I remember jumping on your show, and I'm just looking at this, and I'm like, this is just a terrible hire, and bang, stumbling all over again.
You had said in that interview, you said something. I'm paraphrasing. Well, he just burned down the Florida State program. What's he going to do in A&M?
Right? Oh my gosh! What a goofball! Even blind squirrels find nuts, man. So
hey,
it's draft week.
It's draft week. Here we go. All right, let's get into. Give me your top. I don't care how many. Your top 2, 3, 4, 5 NFL development programs in the SEC, and your bottom 3 or 4. Dave Bartu.
Okay. Hey, I got something better than that. Hang on a second here. Hang on a second. How about I divide it up between offense and defense?
Ooh, yes.
I'm going to break it down. So let's go with the average teams, okay? And so this is since 2010, and using my database that I have on the NFL draft. So Alabama and LSU. So Alabama, 75 guys drafted on offense. But their starts generated per season, per guys drafted, is only 6.5. It's pretty average. Okay? So Alabama, for its recruiting talent, right? See, because I think we got to separate between recruiting talent and developmental talent, right? Did you recruit, and did the guys perform above expectations relative to the SEC? Now in Alabama, 75 guys drafted, all right? But their average starts per player generated was middle of the road, pretty average, okay? LSU, 71 starts, okay? That's 71 draft picks. That's number 2 in the SEC, right? But their starts per player was pretty average. You go down the list, Tennessee, this is what's amazing, is Alabama since 2010 had 75 guys drafted on offense. Tennessee had 40. Okay, the worst program on offense was Kentucky with 16. And I wouldn't be careful about laughing too hard, bro, because Mississippi State, Vanderbilt, and Kentucky combined don't have as many draft picks as Alabama or LSU.
Oh my God.
But Kentucky has 16, right? And so but their average performance, right? Tennessee, 40 guys drafted, average number of starts per draft pick. Mississippi State, third from the bottom. And I don't have Texas and Oklahoma in here because they haven't been in the SEC since 2010, okay? But Mississippi State, 21 draft picks on offense, average starts per guy, 5.6. Vanderbilt 18, Kentucky 16. All of these were average programs in terms of their recruiting, their draft picks, and how many starts they were getting per player. What wouldn't surprise anybody, so the number one offensive program in terms of player, you can call it development or just being able to identify guys and getting them on campus, was Georgia. Georgia had 65 draft picks, but they averaged nearly a half a start more per player per season than Alabama guys. So Georgia guys vastly outperformed Alabama draft picks. So Alabama, in my opinion, was overdrafted. Georgia has one of the better numbers in terms of starts per player drafted per season. Same thing with Ole Miss. Ole Miss is right there. They only have 30 guys drafted. So they had half the number of guys drafted, but the starts generated per guy drafted on offense is equivalent to Georgia. So, over the last 15 years, Georgia and Ole Miss, even though the draft numbers are vastly different, the player performance is pretty similar. But here's the fun part, right? Because in the SEC, what do we love? We love hating everybody, which is odd because people chant SEC all the time, but you love hating all the other teams.
No question.
So, right? So let's see here. I'm going to work backward to the most overdrafted program in the SEC in the last 15 years. How about that?
Okay.
Before we get to that one, though, the next five, you got Florida, Auburn, Arkansas, South Carolina, and Texas A&M. All of these are underperforming in the SEC. Auburn is bottom three, South Carolina, Arkansas. Those are your bottom three right before you get to the worst performing draft team in the SEC in the last 15 years, and that is Missouri. Missouri's only had 34 guys drafted, but their starts generated per player is the absolute worst in the SEC. So I think Missouri guys have been overdrafted the most, right along with Auburn, Arkansas, and A&M.
Damn. Okay. So Kentucky, Vanderbilt, and Mississippi State were not good on the offensive side of the ball as far as draft picks. Then you got that middle cluster, and Georgia and Ole Miss were damn good, and Ole Miss didn't have near as many picks, and Bama had a running ton, but it didn't average out at the level as far as starts in the NFL. Is that right?
Right. My summary, my takeaway, exactly that, is Alabama and LSU just performed at expectations, maybe slightly overdrafted.
Okay.
Georgia and Ole Miss guys, they provided the best value per pick. And then you go to the other end, Florida, Auburn, the big brands. Like, we're not surprised Missouri and South Carolina and Arkansas are underperforming, but Florida and Auburn guys, we're talking top 5 in draft picks, but bottom 5 in performance. So if you said, okay, who's the most overdrafted offensive players of the last 15 years in the SEC, I'm going Florida and Auburn.
Like Anthony Richardson jumps out to me, first round pick out of Florida, and just couldn't get it rolling. But I mean, there's others.
Right. Well, that's one. Florida has had 51 guys drafted on offense in the last 15 years.
Damn.
Right? So even with Anthony Richardson, it's a slew of other guys that underperform too. This is a really big sample size. So, yeah, Florida and Auburn have really underperformed the brand expectation at the NFL level, in my opinion.
Okay. Let's go to the defensive side of the football. Dave Bartu, Matrix Analytical on the Out of Bounds show, powered by Championship Golf at Dancing Rabbit Golf Club. Bartu?
Yeah, well, let's see here. I'll get the average guys out of the way first. LSU, Georgia, South Carolina. Let's see here. Mississippi State and Missouri on defense, all pretty average in there. The overdrafted ones. Again, here we go. Look at this. Florida and Auburn, 4 and 5 again.
Wow.
Florida has had 74 guys drafted on defense in the last 15 years. They are bottom half in the SEC and NFL production. Auburn, 55 guys. They are bottom 3 in NFL starts production per player. So, I think the theme here is that, no shock, LSU, Alabama, Georgia, really good at producing picks. But overall, those picks have been pretty average. Alabama's better at identifying players on defense. Georgia, much better on offense. Your two underperforming, overdrafted programs are Florida and Auburn. I know I just gave some praise to Mississippi on the offensive side a minute ago, but let's go to the flip side. Their weakness was the defense. They were number 2 in starts per player per season, generated off of 28 draft picks, which is bottom 5. The interesting one is Kentucky. Kentucky they only had 24 guys drafted. But they had the best overall performance, offense or defense, per player in terms of starts than anybody in the SEC. So, this whole Brad White, John Summerall, Stoops thing, the last 15 years, they have been, in spite of no offense, not really being able to win a whole lot of games, their ability to identify and get above average NFL level defensive players on campus is absolutely extraordinary. They're probably the biggest outlier in this whole thing right now.
Damn. Kentucky. All right. Well, that makes sense. I mean, they were god awful on offense. You talked about it for years. Every time that Stoops hired an offensive coordinator, you didn't like him, and then he wouldn't work out, and then Stoops would fire him. So
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was, but the defensive side
I thought
was
Mississippi's
absolutely phenomenal.
I thought Mississippi, I get their offensive side. I mean, other than Dak and some offensive linemen, it was, they didn't have any skill players do much of anything other than Dak. But on the defensive side with Mullen, and maybe you also factored in the last 5 or 6 years of not enough draft picks being generated post Mullen.
Right.
But, Jeffrey Simmons, Chris Jones, Fletcher Cox, all those, KJ Wright, all those guys. And then, but it was so bad. You took about a 16-year window. It was so bad the last 6 years or so that it kind of blew up Mullen's momentum for starts in the NFL. Is that fair, Bartu?
Yeah, it once Dan left, it tanked down.
Okay.
With you went Moorhead, Leach, Arnett, now Levy. There was a period there, Mississippi State under Dan, they got hot on the defensive side. And it was an interesting dichotomy because it was Ole Miss was developing all the offense, State was developing all the defense. But I remember, I think Mississippi State at one point had the 3rd or 4th highest total starts, not even per player, total starts in the SEC on the defensive side of the football there for a good bit of time. But they're still, I mean, you look at their numbers, I look at the 2 teams above them, Tennessee, South Carolina, and A&M. Okay. All 3 of those have easily out-recruited Mississippi State over the last 15 years. Mississippi State has a few less draft picks, but way more starts on defense than all of them. So, there was that Dan Mullen period of defensive player evaluation and getting them to Starkville was really, really extraordinary. If there was that window, right, if we carved out little cherry-picked favorite, times, that defensive linebacker, DB era under Mullen, even though you had Dak, it was largely a defensive talented team, it appears.
Yeah. All right. Diamond Dave Bartu, Mr. Crazy Pills on the Out of Bounds show, powered by Pearl River Resort and the Golden Moon Casino Vegas style sportsbook. We're talking NFL draft. What's the number one metric you trust, Bartu, to project quarterback success from Saturday to Sunday?
Oh, if I had to go with one, I'm going with quarterback effect.
Okay.
And that's simply it's just modified coach effect, right? It's how much did that team perform over their expectations, right? Did they lift the team up? I've always said, if you can't carry the bags on Saturday, you can't do it on Sunday, right? And we can go back and look through just about any of these draft picks and go, okay, what was his plus minus quarterback effect? And if you sit here, you can pick any year you want, and I can tell you the guy's plus and minus quarterback effect, who had the best ones. And yeah, that's what I would go with university. Crazy pills. If I had to make one choice.
Okay. And as far as this class, Fernando Mendoza is going to go number 1 to the Raiders tomorrow night, and then Ty Simpson will go at some point in the first round, we think. And there's not a lot there as far as
no. There's nothing there. Well, let's look at last year real quick, right? Let's recap. So Cam Ward for his career, plus quarterback effect.
Okay.
Right? He carried teams. Incarnate Word, Washington State, Miami. He took them beyond what was expected there. Okay. Jackson Dart, a lot of starts, right? But he was with an elite offensive coordinator, slightly positive. But overall, Ole Miss really did what they were supposed to do. He really didn't elevate them that much. Tyler Shock at the Saints, career negative guy. Jalen Milroe, career negative guy. Dylan Gabriel, pretty average. Sanders, now we're getting into round 5. Sanders was big plus. McCord was a plus, but it was 1 year. Will Howard didn't elevate Ohio State, even though he did a good job at Kansas State. Okay. Riley Leonard, 6 rounds. So it's a real mix there. But what I find interesting is Quinn Ewers was taken in round 7, and he had a very significant negative quarterback effect. Okay, so does Ty Simpson with less starts in college. I think with Ty Simpson on paper, you're getting like expensive Quinn Ewers. He's never proven himself. He hasn't elevated a team. He hasn't done jack squat, right? I mean, Alabama lost 4 games last year. How many games did he help them win? Honestly, and so I get it. It's a terrible quarterback class. Dante Moore at Oregon should have come out as well. Because I think what he's facing next year with the worst offensive coordinator grade in the Big Ten, and a huge draft class next year, he should have come out and been a top 5 pick. But, you go through all these quarterbacks, your Nussmeyers, Klubnik at Clemson.
Nussmeier, although it's come out that he was hurt, his quarterback effect just was not good at the end of the day, right, Bartu?
Yeah, it still stinks. He still never elevated LSU. I mean, that's a top 5 recruiter for the entire century, right? I mean, they got the third most starts in the NFL the last 25 years. I mean, you just don't lose football games unless you're not a good quarterback. And maybe he was super hurt. Okay, maybe he was. Still not drafting him because I don't draft hurt players either.
Okay. Oh, you don't. So expand on that. I mean, we got a bunch of guys that are beat up or coming off surgeries that are still going to go in the top 3 rounds. Expand on that, Bartu.
Yeah, I'm still, something. It's not anything proven.
Okay.
But this is, the NFL is a massive injury league. Okay. Right. Now here's numbers I have done. The odds, and this is just rounding up. Okay. The odds of having a season-ending injury in the NFL. The odds of your season ending on a single injury in the NFL are equal to the odds of you getting hurt and losing 1 start in Power 4 football.
Damn.
Okay? 1 game versus 16. Okay? Same odds. The NFL, the speed, the power is so violent. Okay? And so if there's a guy that was hurt in high school, hurt in college, that guy is going to get hurt in the NFL. very quick, and maybe, I'm sure there's people listening right now that go, oh, Dave, here's some examples. Yeah. What is that? 1 in 10, 1 in 20, 1 in 30? I don't have much draft capital. I have a cap. I can't take risks on guys like that.
I love it. All right. So Dave Bartu on the Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. Do we have time to hit anything else? Okay. All right. So do you buy in? Where do you stand on if you were drafting 4th, 8th, or 12th? Do you take best player available or need?
I'm always best player available.
Okay.
When it comes down to that, but see, there's some other things that go with it. The best player available might be a safety, but a veteran safety costs me $15 million, right, a year. An all-pro defensive tackle might cost me $30 million a year in free agency, but I can get him for 4 years drafting him. So there's a delicate balance with the numbers. I can say the one position that I find is most interesting is bottom half of the first round. I tend to avoid linebackers. There's better value in the second round for linebackers unless they're super elite athleticism, where you can get them in the top half of the round. But I'm a best player available guy, and figure it out from there.
Dude, you just crushed it. I hate to stroke the ego, but you just hit a grand slam, my brother. I love it.
Oh, well, how about you want to come back tomorrow and do some Cowboys Saints?
Yes.
Talk?
Yes. Hell yeah. Dallas has 2 first-round picks, and the Saints pick number 8, and our Saints fans are going crazy over what they're going to do.
Okay. I'll give you something on Dallas real quick.
I got 30 seconds to a minute.
You got it. I'll wrap it under 60 seconds, okay? Dallas has 2 first-round picks, okay? Their defense was 32nd last year. Now, in the history of the NFL draft in the last 25 years, being in this situation, the best thing for Dallas to do is keep both of those picks. Do not trade either one. Take the best defensive player available. That shows year over year the most improvement in defense. The second best thing is trading both and go back for 4 defensive players. The historical worst case scenario is only trading one of those and ending up with 3 draft picks on defense. And if they don't use all those picks on defense, that's a bad choice as well. That's why I think Dallas is going to hang on to both of them and not trade back.
Okay. All right. We'll do this again tomorrow with Diamond Dave Bartu, Matrix Analytical. Appreciate it, buddy. Thanks, Bartu.
Take it easy.
All right. That was great. Yeah.
That is right in the giblets, baby.
That was powered by Pearl River Resort. And lunch today is brought to you by Burgers Blues Barbecue, Jackson Meadows. Smash Burgers, Blue Plates, and the Dirty Bird Wrap. They've got a new green space in Dogwood, Flowwood. B3, Burgers Blues Barbecue. Get to go, catered, or go in and check out their new green space, Dogwood, Flowwood.